What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Coaster Nostra back at you guys with another sneaker review, unboxing, and on feet look with the sock combo to match, guys. Let's jump right into another review. Alright fam, another somewhat plain Jane PG4 box. You have the sleek all black gloss box. You've got that PG infinity symbol right there on top of the box, and then the main graphic that really decorates the rest of the box all around the sides is going to be that pattern that matches the midsole on the PG4s. Guys, the Nike PG4G, the colorway on this bad boy is white / multicolor in a size 11, retailing at $120 US, guys. Let's pull this pair out and check out this pair. Alright guys, there we go. In hand, the Nike PG4, another Gatorade collab. This is the GX white colorway, and in my opinion, these are very clean, guys. In hand, I do dig these. I have actually enjoyed a lot of these PG4 colorways. I've copped a lot of these PG4 colorways. I'm actually a pretty big fan of the silhouette, how it feels on feet. On court, perhaps not my favorite option in terms of everything that's on shelves right now. You guys know I'm a Kyrie head, so it really takes a lot to get me out of my lane and not rocking heavy with them Kyries. But guys, I definitely am feeling this shoe. I'm feeling the transition that they made from the 3 to the 4, which was really a big step. And guys, I'm definitely enjoying this colorway. So guys, if you've been keeping track, this is basically one of, I want to say, 5 Gatorade colorways. There were the first 2 Gatorade colorways. One was, of course, a 2K variation colorway. I actually did not pick that colorway up, and I'm kind of kicking myself now, guys, just because I don't have that one in the collection, and I've got most of these other PGs. I don't have the very first one that dropped. I don't have that one PCG or whatever it was. There's a couple other ones that I don't have, mainly because they haven't necessarily dropped over here. I did actually cop that orange Gatorade colorway. It should be here any day now, guys, so stay tuned for a review on those. I also copped the bread colorway of the PG4s, which is a little bit of a throwback going back, I want to say, a couple months. I got those bad boys on sale and just have not really had time to do a review of those, and some of these other shoes have kind of taken precedence for me because they're a little bit newer. I feel like shoes like this are really what people are clamoring for, and we'll get a little bit more views just because, fam, this thing is so time sensitive, right? But this colorway, guys, a very clean colorway, a mostly white colorway, even on some of the sort of ghosty white translucent portions of the shoe, which I think is a really nice addition, a nice variation of a colorway for the PG4 line. If you've been keeping track of a lot of the colorway, guys, they've really used the mesh side on the medial portion of the shoe to really kind of highlight some of the inner structure and what's going on, what's pulling the shoe together. It's been a pretty dope little implementation. However, guys, on this particular colorway, the ghost sort of translucent upper shroud, there's a little bit of a white hit to that shroud, but it's mostly translucent, and you can actually kind of see the inner workings underneath the upper shroud of the shoe, which I think is really cool. I think it does a good job of kind of highlighting how this shoe came together as a whole. The lacing system, I know I've heard some people say things like the outsole rubber compound is very soft, and that it just really doesn't hold up very well on outdoor courts after a few plays, which honestly can be said for a lot of these Nike basketball shoes. Some of the outsoles on these shoes are not the most durable, hard rubber material, so you might chew through some pairs of these things if you're playing on outdoor courts, guys. However, on indoor courts, these things should grip pretty darn good because you've got a fairly uniform radial pattern that's really structured all over the outsole of the shoe. There's a little sort of inner air cup on the back heel portion of the shoe where they really go out of their way to kind of highlight the airbag that's thrown inside the shoe itself. As you kind of follow your way up to the toe of the shoe, there's this sort of natural indentation that'll kind of mark where your toes will begin. And yet, guys, while it's definitely visual on the outsole of the shoe, when you put these things on feet, at least in my opinion, it's not something that I felt per se under my foot. However, the feeling, the sensation underfoot of this shoe, I think, is one of the highlights of the build of this shoe. It is an extremely forgiving midsole. The way they sort of structured the air strobel throughout the shoe, I think it was a pretty interesting concept what they did. How they sort of took, you know, your traditional midsole material that's going to be some sort of a compound, and instead of placing an airbag in the forefront of the shoe or in the back heel section of the shoe, they injected air throughout the midsole, which I think really gives this shoe sort of a different sensation underfoot. To me, this is a shoe that, while it is extremely snug, a little bit of a challenge to get these things on your feet, especially for people who have a little bit bigger, a little bit wider feet. Someone like myself, I've got a pretty narrow foot. I've got a really weird arch to my foot. And guys, I do struggle a little bit to get these things on foot, but once I do have them on foot, they feel really good to me. This is a shoe that if I was out working and I was gonna be out on my feet for 8 hours straight, standing up pretty much, I wouldn't really be kicking myself at the end of the day because I chose to wear this shoe. The build and the structure of the shoe, again, a very narrow, snug fit to the shoe itself. Even when you zip down that shroud, which you're gonna have to do to get these things on feet, just the overall concept of the shoe is really meant to hug everything about your foot. And guys, I like the feel, but it is definitely very different in terms of some of the other options from Nike basketball right now. It is interesting how much more secure your foot feels inside this shoe once you do zip that outer shroud up when you're actually taking these things to court. These things do feel snug, but once you zip that shroud up, guys, they're even more snug around really the entire upper portion of your foot. The lacing system to the shoe itself is pretty interesting and sort of expands on a lot of what they've done with flywire and things like that for really almost the last, you know, decade to 2 decades in a lot of these shoes. But guys, to me, definitely my favorite PG silhouette to date. Now, the colorway of the shoe, we touched on it a little bit. The shoe is mainly white or translucent white throughout most of the shoe, and then mainly you're gonna see a lot of sort of neon accents, whether it's neon orange, which is perhaps the most dominant just because it's not really muted anywhere on the shoe. It's not really hidden too much behind the orange except for some of the lacing system. However, guys, depending on how you choose to lace these shoes, some of those orange laces might be popping out. I think it's pretty dope how on basically every colorway of these shoes, they've accented the tips of the laces a little bit of a different color. So guys, you got the orange laces with a little hit of neon green on the tip of those laces. Really dope in my opinion. Speaking of neon green, that might be the next most dominant color of the shoe, as you can see it all over, whether it's on the toe box area of the shoe, again underneath the sort of ghosty white translucent upper portion of the shroud. But when you look close, guys, you can see PG's sort of infinity logo layered all over the toe of the shoe. Everywhere that's sort of neon green on the side panel of the shoe, you're gonna see that PG logo, and it's gonna sort of be coupled with, I guess, that Gatorade GXX logo right next to it. Pretty dope how they layered that. I want to say it's pretty similar in that orange colorway. So that, to me, guys, is really going to be the main thing that distinguishes these colorways from sort of the first wave of Gatorade colorways that we saw, you know, with the first 2 and then the All-Star colorway, which I think might be my favorite PG colorway and definitely my favorite of all these Gatorade colorways. However, guys, tough choice because they've done a great job with all these, and I can't wait to see those orange ones in hand because those might be a close second. When you unzip the shroud of the shoe, you can see the orange lacing system that works all the way up that white tongue, and it sort of culminates right at the top of the tongue in a neon green tongue pull, and you'll see instead of the PG logo, you'll see the GX logo on both shoes. Kind of surprised me. I actually expected to see the Gatorade logo on one shoe and then the PG logo on the other shoe, but nope, guys, they faked me out on this one. They went with the double Gatorade logos on both tongues. So guys, we essentially have the same shoe from right shoe to left shoe. There's really no differences, no variations from one shoe to the other shoe. Looking at the midsole of the shoe, it's all white. It's got that really kind of telltale, almost like braille pattern to the shoe. It really almost reminds me of like DNA molecules or something like that. Like if you were in chemistry class or something like that and they were breaking down some sort of atoms or molecules or whatever. That's what that it reminds me of. But to me, I think what it's really signifying and representing is what they did and tried to do with this shoe, with the cushioning of this shoe, with the air Strobel board that they went with in this shoe. A huge difference between this shoe and the PG3, guys, because the PG3 had air zoom and this just has the traditional air. So guys, we've got a lot more of a pillowy, cushiony feel as opposed to a springy feel to the shoe, to the cushioning of the shoe. But guys, I like it. I like these things on feet. I like the variation that this shoe brings to the table with everything else that we have to choose from Nike basketball, whether it's the Kyries, the LeBrons, the KDs, some of the Jordan brand shoes like the Westbrooks, or even now the Freak 2s. Guys, we've got a lot of pretty dope options on the shelves. And some of these lower price models really actually kind of are distinguishing themselves in the direction that they're going with their shoe and what they're bringing to the table. As we look at that back butt on the sneaker, guys, a pretty clean look on the shoe. I want to say that might be the only hit of, I guess, leather on the shoe right there. Real sleek hit of white right back there. You do have a little back tail pull, as again, guys, it's difficult to get these shoes on feet, so you're probably going to be making use of that, or perhaps sticking one of your fingers in the back of heel of the shoe to sort of help your foot slide in, as well as making use of that tongue pull to get your foot inside this shoe. You can see Paul George's signature right there running vertically on that back white hit of leather on the back butt of the shoe. That outsole that we touched on, guys, all white, maybe my least favorite aspect of the shoe. Never a fan of the all white outsoles. And then it's sort of lined in this really light green color, which sort of reminds me a little bit of how the green appears underneath that translucent shroud. And then, guys, the orange accenting all over the sort of sock liner of the shoe, the inner lining of the shoe, the insole of the shoe, the actual zipper pull of the shoe. And then, guys, where you unzip that shroud, you'll see the PG logo on the bottom of that zipper right there, dressed in orange as well. Guys, a really clean, really dope colorway. Hopefully you can keep these things clean for the long haul. Let's check these things out on feet, guys. Hope you dig these. Let me know down below. Throw me any comments down below. I'll try to respond to them as well. Y'all know what to do. Comment, like, subscribe. Thank you for rocking with me and my review. Stay safe, fam. Much love. Peace.